I'm going to tell you something most men completely misunderstand. Attraction isn't built in the body, it's built in the mind. Because a woman might feel chemistry with you in a moment, but what makes her stay, what makes her obsess, what makes her compare every other man to you is what you make her feel emotionally. And here's the truth nobody tells you. The right words at the right moment with the right emotional tone can leave a deeper imprint than anything physical ever could. And today, before we dive deeper, a quick message. If you've been learning from my videos and you want to support this work, you can subscribe to me on Facebook with a paid membership, send stars, or join my YouTube channel's paid community. Your support helps me create more powerful content for you, and I truly appreciate every bit of it. All right, now let's continue. I'm going to show you exactly what to say to make her feel something she can't replace. But before we go deeper, understand this. Most men talk too much, explain too much, and try too hard to impress. And in doing that, they kill the one thing that actually creates obsession, mystery, because the more predictable you are, the less she thinks about you. And the less she thinks about you, the faster she moves on. Now, here's where it gets interesting. There are certain phrases, certain emotional triggers that don't just make her like you, they make her feel seen. And when a woman feels truly seen, she doesn't forget you. She can't. Let me show you the first one. Instead of saying something basic like, I like you, you say, I feel like there's a side of you not many people get to see. Pause there. Let it sit. Because what you just did was trigger her curiosity. Now she's thinking, what does he see in me? What does he understand that others don't? And just like that, she starts opening up, not because you asked her to, but because she wants to prove you right. And here's the deeper layer most people miss. Women don't bond through logic. They bond through emotional experience. So if every conversation with you feels different, feels deeper, feels more intense, you become addictive. Not because of what you do, but because of how she feels around you. Now, let me give you something even stronger. At the right moment, when the energy feels right, you lean in slightly, lower your voice, and say, there's something about you I can't fully figure out yet. This does two things instantly. First, it creates intrigue. Second, it gives her a subtle challenge. Now she wants to pull you closer emotionally because humans are wired to seek closure. And if she feels like you're still figuring her out, she invests more into you. But here's where most men mess up. They rush. They try to stack too many lines, too many compliments, and it starts to feel fake. What you need to understand is delivery matters more than words. Silence matters more than talking. Eye contact matters more than explanation, because real attraction lives in the space between words. Now listen carefully to this one, because this is where emotional imprinting becomes powerful. At a moment where she feels comfortable, where there's connection, you say, I don't think you even realize the effect you have on people. And then you stop. No explanation, no follow-up. Just let her sit in that feeling, because now her mind starts filling in the blanks. Effect? What effect? What does he mean? And that curiosity turns into emotional engagement. Let me tell you something most people will never admit. People don't fall for you because you're perfect. They fall for you because you made them feel something rare, something different, something they can't easily find again. And once that feeling is attached to you, every other interaction feels weaker. Now here's a subtle shift that changes everything. Instead of trying to impress her, start observing her, not in a creepy way, but in a way that makes her feel understood. Notice small details. The way her mood shifts, the way she reacts to certain things, and then reflect it back. You might say, you act confident, but I feel like you overthink a lot more than you show. That line, that hits deep because now she feels exposed, but in a safe way. And that combination creates emotional intimacy fast. Now, here's where things get even more interesting, because once she starts feeling this connection, you don't chase, you don't overtext, you don't try to hold on to her attention. You pull back, slightly, just enough to let her feel your absence, because absence is what amplifies emotional attachment. If she always has access to you, she never has to miss you. And when she starts missing you, that's when the real shift happens. She replays conversations. She remembers how you made her feel. She compares you to others, and they don't measure up. Now let's go deeper, because most men stop here. They learn a few lines, they create a little mystery, and then they wonder why it doesn't last. Here's why. Lines without depth are empty. Mystery without substance is hollow. And a woman with real emotional intelligence can feel the difference immediately. So what separates the men who become unforgettable from the men who just seem interesting for a week? One thing: presence. Not physical presence, emotional presence. The ability to be fully, completely undistracted when you're with her. In a world where every man is half scrolling his phone, half listening, half there, the man who gives his complete attention feels like oxygen. Think about that. When was the last time someone made you feel like you were the only thing in the room? That feeling is rare, and rare things are valuable. So here's what you do. The next time you're with her, put the phone away, not on the table, away. Make eye contact that doesn't dart around the room. Listen, not to respond, but to understand. And when she finishes talking, don't immediately fill the silence. Let it breathe. Because that pause, that says more than 100 words ever could. It says, I'm thinking about what you said. It says, you matter enough for me to be slow with you. And she will feel that deeply. Now here's something even the most self-aware men overlook. Your energy before you speak matters more than the words you choose. You can say the most perfectly crafted sentence, but if your energy is anxious, needy, desperate for approval, she'll feel it, and it will cancel everything out. This is why confidence isn't about what you say. It's about what you're willing to not say. The man who doesn't rush to fill every silence, who doesn't over-explain himself, who doesn't need her validation to feel okay, that man carries a different kind of weight, a gravity, and people are naturally pulled toward gravity. So before you think about the next thing to say to her, ask yourself, am I speaking from a place of calm, or am I reacting from a place of fear? Because she can feel the difference every time. Now, let me give you something practical, because awareness without action is just philosophy. Here's a principle that will change how every conversation feels. Stop explaining yourself. When a man feels insecure, he over-explains. He justifies his choices. He defends his opinions before anyone attacks them. He preemptively apologizes for who he is. And every time he does that, he hands away a piece of his power. The man who is truly comfortable with himself doesn't feel the need to explain. He states, he observes, he moves on. And that quiet self-assurance is one of the most attractive things a person can carry. So practice this. The next time you feel the urge to over-explain something about yourself, stop, say it once, simply, and then let it stand. Watch how differently she responds. Now, here's something that will feel counterintuitive. If you want her to value your time, you have to value your time first. Most men make themselves too available. She texts, he responds in seconds, every time. And slowly, she stops feeling the weight of his attention because it costs him nothing. But the man who has a life, a purpose, things that matter to him beyond her approval, that man's attention feels like a reward, not a given. So build something, not to impress her, but because a man with direction is irresistible. When she knows you have goals you're chasing, things you care about deeply, a standard you hold yourself to, she wants to be part of that world. She wants to earn her place in it. And that desire, that's more powerful than any line you could ever say. Now here's the layer that almost nobody talks about: emotional calibration. What does that mean? It means reading the room and adjusting without being asked. There are moments when she wants depth, moments when she wants lightness, moments when she wants to be challenged, moments when she just wants to feel safe. The man who can navigate all four without making it awkward, without forcing it, becomes the one she doesn't want to lose. Because most people in her life are predictable. Her friends respond the same way every time. Her coworkers are surface level. The other men she meets either try too hard or not enough. But you read her, you shift with her, you meet her where she is. And that adaptability feels like being truly known. Now, there's one more thing I want you to carry with you, and this is the piece that ties everything together: your relationship with yourself. Because everything we've talked about, the presence, the silence, the emotional depth, the observation, the calm confidence, none of it works if you don't actually like who you are. Insecurity leaks. No matter how well you hide it, no matter how polished your words are, it seeps through. In the way you tense up when you feel ignored, in the way you check your phone after sending a message, in the way you agree with things you don't believe, just to keep her happy. And she notices, not consciously maybe, but she feels it. The way you feel a draft even before you find the open window. So the real work, the deepest work, is becoming someone you genuinely respect. Not performing confidence, actually building it through the promises you keep to yourself, through the discomfort you're willing to walk through the life you choose to build on your own terms. Because when you become that man, you don't need tactics, you don't need lines, you just show up, and your presence does the work for you. Now imagine combining all of this: the right words, the right silence, the right emotional tension, the genuine depth, the unshakable presence. You don't just become someone she likes, you become someone she remembers, someone she thinks about late at night, someone she subconsciously compares every other man to. And here's the truth: you don't need dozens of lines, you don't need complicated tactics, you just need to understand one thing: people chase feelings, not people. So if you become the source of a feeling she can't easily replace, you win. Without chasing, without forcing, without pretending. Before I end this, I want you to remember something important. This isn't about manipulation. It's about awareness. Because once you understand emotional psychology, you stop trying to be liked and you start becoming unforgettable. And the beautiful irony: the moment you stop needing her to choose you is usually the moment she does. If this made you see things differently, made something click that wasn't clicking before, then do one thing: share this with someone who needs to hear it. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and go watch the next one, because we're only getting deeper from here. The men who understand this stuff don't just win with women, they win at life. And that's exactly what we're building here, one truth at a time.